Hi you guys, my name is Derek Rashid and welcome to my channel. So here you are for another installment of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After ? We're starting off with Colt and Jess and Debbie and the entire fiasco that we ended up last episode with. We're picking right back up. After finding out about Vanessa, Jess leaves the room and Colt and Debbie have this entire conversation and Debbie is lying through her teeth. She's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I thought she understood that you guys were friends and da-da-da-da. Why you gotta lie? And then Colt, obviously, like, God forbid we take some accountability in the situation. He's like, yeah, I don't know why Jess is so jealous, as if he didn't lie to her about the entire situation. I'm just over Debbie and Colt. Like, at this point, they just need to move to Smothered so they don't have to be on my TV. They will definitely fit in there since it doesn't look like Colt's gonna have someone else to get married to within 90 days. So at the end of everything, Debbie gets a little gleeful moment where she offers Colt to sleep in her room on the pullout because I don't know if Jess is gonna come back and be like vindictive and try to hit you or anything like that. And luckily he declines. In his interview, he basically admits that like he knows that his mom was trying to break them up and he did lie about the entire Vanessa situation. So I guess like a little bit of accountability is happening, but not like Colt and Debbie are gaslighters. You can't give me all the reasons to be mad and then ask me why I'm mad and tell me I'm being jealous and like none of this makes sense and da 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 da. No. So downstairs we actually meet up with Jess and she is contacting Vanessa. Like, I don't know what's up with these girls, but they're contacting people. They're getting their numbers from other people's phones and everything like that. So Vanessa basically confirms that her and Colt have been in communication. They haven't stopped, and we find out that Colt falsified some text messages in a screenshot. Jess has her second wind at this moment, so she goes back upstairs. She goes into the room with Colt, and this is where she starts throwing her heels, and he's like, ow, ow, ow. No, bro, like, I'm not condoning violence, but I got a little bit of joy out of her throwing heels at him. And then he goes into the entire victim role. He's like, oh my God, just give me 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. No, if you keep apologizing for the same thing, like, it doesn't, like, it's not real anymore. But my favorite part of everything is Jess calls Colt trash, and then she's like, no, you're not even trash because trash is better. And then she gets really, she gets vindictive, and she's like, I'm gonna go sleep with my ex since it's your last night in Brazil. So we head over to Washington where Kalani and Asuelu are visiting to see Asuelu's mother and his sister. And the morning after the entire event, after the airport, they seem to be okay. They're having conversations. Apparently both of them experienced a ghost the night before. So I guess we're good, like we're on common ground. Kolini arrives and Asuelu's a little bit bothered by Kalini's presence. He says that I think Kolini's here because Kalani feels like she needs someone to be on her side. So they head over to wherever the meeting spot's gonna be. Asuelu's mom and sister show up. We find out that one of them is actually deaf. We get this really long, awkward, like, introduction moment with Asuelu's mom and him, and it just looks really weird at first. And Kalani brings this up with Asuelu, and she's like, oh, why was your mom kissing you on your lip? And he's like, she's not, she was kissing me on the side. They go back and forth about this, and Asuelu just runs off, and he's like pouty and stuff, and it's so much. But they end up at this food truck rally type deal, and they go and they sit down, and Kalani and Asuelu's like, all right, we're gonna go get the food. Asuelu orders as if there are like 20 people at the table, and there may be 6 adults there. And it just seems like really excessive, but he said he's bringing the best of the best of the best. So between him and Kalani, they hit several trucks and then they bring stuff back. And this is where the conversation starts to go. Asuelu says that, like, I brought gifts for you guys. And the sister's like, oh yeah, you did? What about the money? And mom's like, yeah, where's my money? So Asuelu's like, well, $100, and the mom's like, $100. And then the sister's like, that's all? And then Kalani's like, that's a lot of money. Like, $100 is a lot of money. But the mom's like, just $100. And then we have the deaf sister. I don't know her name. She gives her 2 cents. She weighs in on the entire thing. And she says the same thing, that $100 is not enough money. Kalani's like, I don't know what Asuelu told you guys, but we don't have $1,000 to give you. Like, he only works part-time, I'm not working. And then his mom, Asuelu's mom, was like, Kalani's parents have money, why can't they take care of the kids? Do you hear yourself? Like, you literally just said, hey, have somebody else take care of your children so that you can take care of me and your sisters and the rest of your family who are grown adults. And the sister, Tammy, she's like, I told you that you needed to take care of your family, and why don't you have a full-time job? Like, do you want to be a real man? You need to take care of us as well so that we can send money back to Samoa. And Kalani's like, well, do you send money back to Samoa? And old girl says, that's none of your business. So it's not their business what they do with their money, but it's everyone's business with what happened with Asuelu's. But the mom jumps into this conversation. She's like, I'm talking to my son. Things are starting to get a little bit escalated. So Asuelu's like, hey, everybody, like, just bring it down a little bit. Although the only escalations are coming from his family. And honestly, I feel as though Kalani's being very reserved. She's actually being very respectful. And from what we see, Kalani doesn't say anything at all. But his mom and his sisters, they pull the I'm done, I'm leaving, and they get up and leave. So Asuelu's starting to have this like realization moment that maybe his family does only want to deal with him when it only comes to him supplying money. Back in Las Vegas, we meet up with Larissa, who was still at Carmen's house. We're picking up exactly where we left off. The doorbell rings and we're freaking out. We're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? It's gonna be the cops, it's gonna be Eric, it's gonna be David, it's gonna be Eric and David. And it's Amazon, y'all. It's just Amazon. They dropped off a package. Carmen now ordered something. Major letdown. Larissa ends up deciding to leave to go back to Eric's house. She doesn't have her key to get in. She walks in the back with Eric, and I think it's Eric's room that they end up walking into. She kicks David out of the room, and then she threatens him that she's gonna kick him out of the house. You don't pay rent, you don't pay a mortgage, ain't no utilities in your name. Like, you don't even get mail delivered here, but you gonna kick somebody else out of their house. Okay, girl. Larissa has, I don't want to say the audacity, but the audacity to say that just like maybe she attracts toxic men, as if maybe the universe is giving her exactly what she puts out into it in return. So the conversation between Larissa and Eric is basically the same thing that we already saw in the last episode, which is her bringing up everything about how could he do this and da 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 da. And he keeps his whole you're bringing up the dead thing, but then he goes and says, he's like, so what do you want to do? You want to pack up your stuff? Like, you're leaving? And she's like, I'm not going anywhere tonight. I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna get my shower in, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rearrange some stuff in my room. Again, as if she lives here, like this is her place of residence, she pays some bills or anything like that. But what it comes down to is she has to talk to Carmen again and see if Carmen wants her back in her house. Over in South Africa, we have Tanya and Sinjin, who are going to visit Sinjin's brother. And we get in the car. Sinjin has a little jerk moment in the car, and Tanya starts to freak out, like having a full-blown panic attack about her car accident that she got into. Yet every time that we've seen Tanya inside of a car, she doesn't have on a seatbelt. They get to the brother's house and everything goes well. Sinjin lights up, they're having good conversation, but Sinjin does he gives the full-on impression that he doesn't really care for America. He says the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and this gives his brother like more reason to worry about like what's going on. And the next day, Sinjin goes and hangs out with his brother again, and he's also gonna spend the evening, the nighttime or whatever with his boys. And they're gonna go party and drink and whatnot. And on the flip side, we have Tanya, who is basically hanging out with Sinjin's mom and sister, and they go out and they just go shopping and do some things, and they have the conversation with Tanya about how she feels that things are going in the relationship. And she says basically everything that she said to Sinjin about wanting to settle down, but this not meaning that he has to let go of this like fun side of him, but like this is the relationship and we should be progressing, and we shouldn't be at this point 2 years in where we're still unsure if we want to be married when we're already married. I guess we're gonna have another conversation with Sinjin and his brother. I don't know, it just seems like a lot of family therapy, and ain't no therapist in the family. Back in Moldova with Libby and Andre, we are still at the table. We pick right back up with the fight between Andre and Charlie. They're getting in each other's face and they're just rah rah rah, but ain't nothing happened. But they're like this close to each other. Like, I don't get it. Like, if you're gonna get that close to somebody and y'all already being aggressive, like, why ain't nobody fighting? Andre decides to fix his lips to say that Charlie and Chuck need to go back to their own country. Please go back. Please, Chuck, please go back to the States and take your wallet when you go, because remember this wedding that's supposed to be happening? He's supposed to be the one paying for it. Everyone is on the side of chilling Andre out, chilling Charlie out, and the sister-in-law's like, Andre, like, you should respect your father-in-law and all these things. Then Charlie goes outside and he's ranting and raving about everything, and then he comes back and they start bickering again. So then Libby gets into it with Andre and they go outside, and she's basically like, all of this is happening because you're being aggressive and you're kind of starting all this stuff. And he's like, but they're asking questions and da da da. Then his brother comes out. His brother Radu is like the calm, sensible person, and he kind of agrees that, and he basically says like, we're trying to fix the things that you messed up. But Andre's so drunk at this point, like him and Libby go to the parking lot and he's ranting and raving, and he's like, you need to step up for me. She's like, I can't condone your behavior, and besides, I've been taking up for you our entire relationship, which is true. But I'm still going to say what I said before. She needs to lay down boundaries with her husband and her family, because at this point, it's exhausting. Like, I don't understand how you could want to be in this situation all the time, because at this point, it's a want. So we head over to Nigeria, where we have Angela and Michael, who are on their way to a cake tasting for their wedding, which is happening in a couple of days. And Michael just poses a simple question and asks if Angela's gonna smoke on their wedding day, and she flips out about this entire thing, because how dare you ask her if she's gonna smoke? Of course she's gonna smoke. Like, do you not know the chimney that you're engaged to? I don't know if this is part of the trip to the cake place, but they get on this little boat and Angela lights up again, and then she asks him the question again, and she's like, so like, really, what's going on? Like, if I can't give you a baby, is that really gonna be it? Because I need to basically figure out what I'm gonna do. And he's like, I'm gonna marry you, it's just that my mom, I don't know what's gonna happen. And she's like, you're a grown man and it shouldn't matter, basically. And it's like, girl, this is part of this guy's culture. Like, if he has to get a blessing, he has to get a blessing. If he wants to go against that, that's on him, but that's not something that you should be pressuring him into. I'm really just trying to figure out like why season after season we get all of these Americans who obviously are trying to marry someone or have married someone from a different country, and they are not willing to like understand their partner's culture or possibly conform to her or whatever have you. Everything is like, I know you're not from here, but I'm American, and we're gonna do things the American way because that's how I feel comfortable, and that's the way it's gonna be. And that's not fair to the other person. Like, you're basically telling them to deny their cultural upbringing and everything for the sake of you not wanting to do anything that's not of your norm. Anyway, at the cake tasting, the only conversation that really happens is kind of like before the wedding, what's gonna happen, and Michael's aunt is like, yeah, we want to help out, like we can definitely pitch in, do food and stuff like that. And then after the wedding, you guys are gonna have a baby, right? And Angela finally tells the truth that there is no egg, and then all the risks that could come from her trying to carry a baby, or tote as she says. And she's like, well, I'm not okay with side chicks. I'm not okay with multiple wives. Like, that's not happening with me while I'm in this relationship. And the aunt being the cool and collective person she is, she's like, it's kind of going to depend on what Michael's mom says. And Angela's like, Michael needs to be his own man. Like, I understand. And then we cut to Michael's interview, and Michael's like, this isn't like pressure from my family or my culture or anything. I want a child. Although Michael doesn't have a job, so I don't know how we're going to pay for this child. So technically his answer, as I said before, his answer is, Angela, if you can't give me a baby and there's no other way that I can have a baby with you and in relationship with you, then we just need to end this here. He hasn't said that. He probably will not say that because they love being in this circle of giving each other half-truths. Michael's aunt also brings up the one egg situation, which literally happened a year ago. And I don't know if biology is not a thing anymore to like anyone, but if someone has one egg and it's been a year, and then just a brief touch on Paul and Karine. Karine's getting to the point where she's getting fed up of this entire situation with Paul. She's like, bro, you got 2 months to get a job. If not, me and Pierre, we packing up, we going back to Brazil, and that's just gonna be that. But yeah, you guys, that's it for this episode. Please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and also follow me on socials. I have Instagram, I have Twitter. My handle is at Derek_Rashid, just like it is with this channel, only the channel does not have the underscore. And until next time, guys, bye.